Australian researchers have found pork-free bacon, falafels and other vegetarian substitutes for meat are often loaded with health hazards. A study by the George Institute for Global Health in Melbourne found many popular processed vegetarian replacement foods are high in salt, fat and sugar. Lead author Clare Farrand joins us now. Clare Farrand, welcome. So tell us about your study.
So our research looked at the salt contents of meat alternatives sold in major supermarkets across Australia. And what we found is there is a lot more products on the market now compared to 10 years ago. And some of those products are actually packed full of salt. For example, the highest salt product contained almost half a day's worth of salt, which is putting our health at risk.
Yeah. And so what's the variation in the quality between the products? Because as you say, there's an explosion in the range at the moment. What's the kind of percentage of products that are a bit dodgy in terms of just how much their levels of salt?
So we looked at meat-free bacon, meat-free sausages, falafels, tofu. And what we can see is there's actually a huge range in the amount of salt within those product categories. So for example, with falafels, we could see there are 5 times more falafels on the market. So it gives us more options. But actually the highest salt falafel was 10 times more salty than the lowest salt falafel, which is concerning because obviously we do want to be encouraging people to eat more plant-based diets. But we do have to remember that lots of these foods are still processed, and so they do contain high levels of salt. So we need to check the label and really be aware.
And so when people check the label, what figures should they be looking for per 100 grams in terms of salt, fat and sugar?
So with salt, we would recommend that people look for less than 400 milligrams of sodium or around that kind of mark per 100 grams. We also have an app which makes it slightly easier for consumers called Food Switch. So you can scan the barcode of a product and it will give you a healthier alternative. And if you are particularly concerned about your salt intake, you can select Salt Switch, which enables you to choose a product which is specifically lower in salt.
And so what's the dangers if people are going to these products thinking they're healthy and they're getting more salt than they bargained for?
So ultimately we want to encourage people to eat fresh as much as possible. But as we are leading busier lifestyles, we are looking for more convenient options. So when choosing these products, do check the label, because eating too much salt can put up our blood pressure, and that puts us at increased risk of stroke, heart attack and kidney disease. And often we don't know how much salt we're eating in the first place, because things don't necessarily taste salty because it's hidden in the product.
And how do these products compare with the real thing?
So when we didn't compare the meat alternatives against meat, because really we want to encourage people to have more of a plant-based diet. So we're not saying
Australia's meat industry would say you should be encouraging people to eat a reasonable amount of meat as well.
And I think many Australians are looking to eat less meat because of environmental sustainability issues, because it's healthier for us, and also for ethical reasons as well.
But in some cases it might not be healthier if you're getting if products are loaded with salt.
Yeah, so for all processed foods, we really need to be aware of what's hidden in those products. And meat alternatives isn't any different. The food industry is responding to the drive for our desire to have more plant-based foods, and they're producing those products onto the market. But we need to ensure that the products that they're bringing onto the market aren't packed with such high levels of salt. So we really want the food manufacturers to reformulate these products to contain less salt in the first place.
And did you notice anything about the labelling? Is it clear enough for people to see if there's 400 milligrams or less of salt per 100 grams in the products they're buying?
So we didn't capture data in terms of the presence of the Health Star rating system, but people can use that to look at the front of pack and get a picture of the overall healthiness of that particular product. But again, you would have to look at the back of the pack to look at the sodium specifically to know how much sodium is in that product.
And have you got recommendations when they look at those labels about sugar and fat as well?
So we didn't look specifically at sugar and fat in this instance, but I recommend you look at the Health Star rating on the front of the pack if there is one, and choose as many Health Stars as possible. And then when you're looking at the sodium, try and choose as close to or lower than 400 milligrams per 100 grams as you can.
Okay, Clare Farrand, thanks so much for coming in and having a chat to us.